2,000 years ago, a man suffered an agonising death. Nails were driven through his hands and feet, a spear pierced his side, and a crown of thorns was forced upon his head. The injuries and suffering of Jesus Christ have been known to manifest themselves in ordinary men and women. It's the phenomenon called stigmata. St. Francis of Assisi reputedly suffered the stigmata in the year 1224. The marks that appeared on his hands, feet and side remained with him until his death. The stigmata continues to inspire awe and amazement. In May of this year, a crowd well in excess of 1 million people gathered in Rome for the beatification of Padre Pio. For 50 years, the late Padre Pio bled from supernatural wounds to his hands and feet. The Vatican has only authenticated 12 cases of stigmata. Case number 13 may prove to be Katya Rivas. We began our investigation of stigmata in Bolivia at Easter. We believed that Katya's stigmata could happen on Good Friday, the day of Christ's crucifixion. If this was to happen, we would be ready to film it and take samples of blood for laboratory testing. But as we began filming, Katya says she received another message for us from Jesus.
Tell Mike that maybe this is not the moment or time to take the samples you are looking for.
There would be no stigmata. We had come all the way to Bolivia, it seems, for nothing. And we were disappointed. But the messages continued.
Learn to trust in me more. This is not the right time.
According to this message, the stigmata would happen in Jesus' time, not ours. Our patience, we were told, would be rewarded.
Ready? Ready? Greg? Katya, are you ready?
The following day came an incredible prophecy. As we were setting up for an interview with Katya, she interrupted to say she had received a new message from Jesus.
In reference to Mike, he will see more marvelous things through me.
Not only would there be a full stigmata, but the exact date it would occur was stated in the message.
The day after the day of Corpus Christi.
No maybes, no conditions. This was our first specific prophecy.
So we can expect stigmata after Corpus Christi?
The next day.
Katya's credibility was now on the line. On June the 4th, we had an appointment with God. Our science would test Katya's faith.
That will give us a lot to think about.
And me also.
In its long history, the Catholic Church has validated only 12 stigmatists. Next, you'll see what happened when we visited Katya Rivas in Bolivia. And what does it all mean? Are we ignoring a powerful message from above? Signs from God will continue. Welcome back to Signs from God. The Roman Catholic feast day of Corpus Christi is a celebration of the Church's central sacrament, communion, a belief that the bread and wine offered to the celebrants is the body and blood of Christ, Corpus Christi, in Latin, body of Christ. It took place this year on June 3rd. Now remember, Katya told Michael that the stigmata would occur the day after Corpus Christi on June 4th. And Michael and his team then returned to Cochabamba, still not knowing if the stigmata would take place. Now, Michael, this is a rather large claim, not a whole lot of stuff to follow here to tell you where you're going to lead. Was there a biblical timetable to let you know what you should expect?
Yeah, we were relying on Christian history quite a bit. And we're told that the suffering of Christ before his crucifixion actually started the night before in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he suffered mental pain and anguish, anxiety. And Katya has told us that she also, the night before she suffers what she believes to be stigmata, she has great mental pain and anxiety. So we were most anxious to observe her on the night before, that Thursday night. It is Thursday morning and Katya has agreed to let us take blood samples.
Yeah. Squeeze your finger back there a little bit.
If she does have the predicted stigmata tomorrow, then we'll also take blood from those wounds for comparisons.
Do you need more?
A little bit more.
Katya believes the blood from the stigmata may not be exclusively hers.
When you have these wounds, who do the wounds belong to?
A Jesús.
Jesus.
That evening, when we return to Katya's house, she appears to be happy and well. But soon she becomes distracted and introspective.
She's beginning to get the anguish in the first.
Even if I am with many people, I feel lonely and abandoned. Like I am not understood by many people. I feel weak, like I cannot do anything.
Tell that person.
Thank you. She's praying very quiet, Katya.
She's crying.
Katya has quietly left us. We find her alone in her prayer room.
Unirte amorosamente a mis dolorosas llagas. Orar en silencio. Escuchar el silencio. Dejar que como el viento mi espíritu respire por todos los recodos de tu alma. Es una maravilla.
¿Eso te ha salido?
Este libro que he abierto.
Santificados. Creo que he hecho el grupo para la paz eso.
I start crying for any reason. As the hours go by, it is such an anxiety that I cannot be at ease anywhere. The pain comes and goes, and I start praying. Then there is a very deep sadness.
We still don't know if Katya will have the stigmata tomorrow, but what she says she is feeling now is the emotional suffering which always comes first. It is, she says, the worst time. It seems to us there is little doubt that what she is feeling now is real and profound.
Now, no doubt, Michael, it seems very moving and very disturbing, but again, there are viewers out there who'll say, she's faking it, it's psychosomatic. How confident were you being there that she would actually go through the physical stigmata the following day?
I wasn't confident. I did have a feeling that it would happen the next day, but the question of whether it's psychosomatic is a very relevant point. There are doctors, psychiatrists, even priests who believe the external signs of the stigmata can be psychosomatic. So if Katya was somehow mentally self-inducing all this, then her distress that night could not be seen as conclusive proof of the stigmata to come. We had to wait for the Friday. Jesus is said to have started to carry the cross at midday and died at 3 p.m. So those were the hours we were watching for. It's 12 noon, and Katya is feeling the pain that she believes is the beginning of the stigmata. I check Katya for any visible signs, but there is nothing.
So these are scars from previous stigmata. There's nothing fresh.
As the minutes pass, her pain appears to intensify. Is the stigmata really about to show itself? Katya's spiritual advisor, Father Renzo Cecilo, is by Katya's side. He notices that her forehead has begun to bleed from tiny wounds which would be consistent with the crown of thorns.
she feels. It's burning.
Bless you, Katya. Scusi. It's 12:15. The first mark of the stigmata on the hand is now appearing.
A tiny cross has appeared on Katya's hand.
Descendió a los infiernos y al tercer día resucitó de entre los muertos. Subió a los cielos y está sentado a la tentación y líbranos del mal. Amén.
Wounds now appear on Katya's feet. They start to bleed. Father Renzo intensifies his praying.
Dios te salve María, llena de gracia, Señor es contigo.
As carefully as I can, I take the samples we need for our blood tests.
Santa María, Madre de Dios,
I must stay away from the wound, which clearly has come through very dramatically and very quickly now.
Gloria al Padre, al Hijo y al Espíritu Santo. Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores, ahora y...
Just one more, Katya. Thank you, Katya.
We've been with Katya for more than an hour, and her wounds have continued to deepen. She is bruised and grazed below her left eye. Are these the wounds of Christ?
Just relax your hand there. I'm sorry, Katya.
No. Es mi pulmón.
Katya appears to be in great pain. For those of us present, it feels very real and very disturbing. Friends who have come to pray with Katya gently wrap her bleeding hands with bandages.
Llenándose de agua.
Sus pulmones se están llenando de agua. En este momento dice.
She says at this moment her lungs are filling up with liquid.
It is now 2:45. If you believe that Katya is suffering as Christ did on the cross, then she is now reaching the final stages of the crucifixion and approaching death from prolonged torture. Katya's daughter, Tatiana, has arrived to help her mother. It is heartbreaking and frightening. Her mother's pain is affecting everyone in the room.
Ya pasó, Padre mío. Ya pasó.
It's past.
It's over.
It's over.
That was so very hard to watch, and on television, you were there, you watched those wounds, Michael, spring from nothing. How did you react being there, watching it with your own eyes?
It was very disturbing. I mean, I think I've A lot of the viewers watching now will feel what I felt then. Maybe being there, it was a little bit worse.
So mind-boggling and inexplicable. Yet those viewers you're talking about, many of them are saying that is totally self-inflicted. Was there any point where you saw her or she could have done this to herself?
There is no way that was self-inflicted. We were there all the time. We had access to Katya all the time. We saw the wounds start from nothing. The first wound on her hand was a pink dot, and you saw the end result. It simply was not self-inflicted.
Now, you're a skeptical journalist. You feeling a bit more spiritual these days as a result of watching that firsthand?
It certainly pushes you heavily in that direction, but you can't rely on your emotionalism when you're making that judgment, or even a feeling of spirituality. So I felt pretty strongly that we still had one more chapter of the Stigmata to go.
More proof.
We had to go back the next day and see the condition of her wounds.
Katya, good morning.
Good morning. ¿Cómo estás, Mike?
When I visit Katya the day after the Stigmata, I am shocked by her recovery.
So much better.
Less than 24 hours ago, she'd literally appeared to be dying. Today, she is almost fully recovered. The most striking change is in her face. The wound below her left eye has disappeared, as have the marks on her forehead.
And your hands?
The back of her hands, yesterday open, bleeding wounds, have also healed.
2 crosses now.
Muy bien.
And her feet, again, open, bleeding wounds less than 24 hours ago, show wounds just healed, smooth to touch.
So, no more stigmata?
Ahora no estoy preparada para...
Katya said she received this message from Jesus after her suffering stopped.
Te he ido preparando para este
I have been
día,
preparing you for this day
porque necesitaba
because I needed to
llegar al
reach the world one more
una vez
time
más
through
a
someone
través de
like you,
que mostrara
to show the world my suffering.
Gracias.
Thank you.
So she was on a mission and you were there to help.
Yeah, if you believe that message, it was remarkably strong. Jesus was saying to her, everything you've been through was to prepare you for this day. Your previous stigmata, all the messages, all your work. It was quite a message.
A lot of pressure for one journalist, no?